Hey, Carolyn, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for taking my call.
Of course. How can we help?
My question has to do with rent versus buying, but it's a little bit more nuanced. We're basically in a situation where we're already renting as cheaply as possible. We even had to move over the summer to avoid a rent hike that put it way outside of our budget. And we can't seem to follow the 25% of take-home rule, essentially. Our original plan was to rent really cheap for a while and have a big down payment and buy a family home. But now I'm wondering if it would make more sense to look to buying something like a condo or a townhome for something close anywhere between like 80 and 90,000 and going ahead and purchasing that since we can't get that percentage down to 25%.
What's your income right now, and what's your rent?
Right. So our rent right now is $825. My husband's working. His take home is about $2,200 a month. We're newly married, so we've been married about a year and 4 months. I was working part time, and then I had our son, and I stopped working. My plan is to be a stay-at-home mom. There are a few things I'm planning on doing on the side that should bring in maybe close to $400 a month, which would bring our take home it's close to 2,600 a month.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see this as I know the percentages are really helpful, but it's not a legalistic piece of the equation. What I do think is the bigger problem here is the income. There's just not enough coming in. If you're going to be staying at home, we need to get his income up to where we're still able to live our life and invest 15% and save for college for this baby and pay off the house early. And if we can't do that, we need more margin. And there's only two ways to get it: make more or spend less. And it sounds like you guys are doing your very best on the spend less side.
Yes, yeah. So the biggest thing I'm trying to tweak right now is just groceries. His job he's only been working professionally for 2 years. I'm 24 and he's 23. We expect, he's been promised basically a promotion and a raise. He's already had one. He hasn't been at the job yet for even a year. So we expect growth on that end.
What does he do?
We don't have any debt. I'm sorry?
What does he do for a living?
He's a project manager. So he's working for a relatively new company. So they basically hired a whole bunch of young people and put them in complicated positions. So it's been good for him. He's been able to get a lot of experience really fast. The salary isn't there necessarily yet. He has a salary, but doesn't really match what he's doing. But the company's growing really fast. So we're hopeful that he will be able to progress quickly. He's been told that he'll get promoted to a senior project management position by the second quarter of this year.
That's good news. And so do you guys have any debt?
No, we don't have any debt. We already have an emergency savings built up, and we have $30,000 already saved for a down payment.
Wow, on top of the emergency fund. Is that right? You have your fully funded emergency fund plus $30,000?
Correct. Yeah, we plan on putting a little bit more in the emergency fund now that we have a baby. But
how did you guys get to that amount?
We saved. we were both homeschooled kids to conservative parents, and we were just raised that way. I was able to get through college debt free and worked all the way through. He has an associate's degree. He's planning on going back to get his bachelor's at some point. I don't know. So everything that I was making before I left my job and had a baby, we just put straight into that down payment.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. So tell us about the condo. Is that an option that it's like, oh man, that's like last resort, we're not excited about it? Or could you see yourself living in that condo for a while and being content?
Well, we're not super excited about it. Our plan now, like in the apartment we were in, it's small, but there's 2 bedrooms. So the whole plan, I was like, technically we could fit 3 kids in here. We plan on having a large family. So, that was the plan. But then when I think about condos, I've looked for there's not very many on the market right now, but just looked around a little bit. Basically, you can get a condo that's roughly the same size of our apartment, and it's the same sort of deal. Like, we could manage to live there probably 5 years or so, longer if necessary. But
what do
so I
those
just wasn't
condos
sure if
cost?
it seems to vary, and I'm not as familiar with the city we're currently in, so part of it I need to look at like crime maps and stuff. But roughly they're going for anywhere between 80 and 90,000.
Okay. So
And
you guys would have if you got the condo today, which you're in a position to technically do it with 30,000 down on a 90,000 condo, that would put you on a 15-year fixed at a payment of about 730 or so.
Right, yeah.
Now you do have extra costs. There may be HOA, there's going to be home maintenance, repairs, property taxes, home insurance is going to be higher than renter's insurance. So you want to factor all of those pieces in. But as far as a financial equation, you could do this.
Okay.
And my first home was a townhome, and we loved it. And you don't have a lot to worry about with condos and townhomes versus single-family homes. So I think it's a great step for you guys if you really want to get out of the renting game.
Okay. Honestly, like we're renting now, we're pretty content too. So I just don't know if it's smarter financially to get a condo versus renting. So really, we're open to do.
I just wouldn't be in a rush
for the next 5 years.
I mean, it is so wonderful when the toilet breaks. You just call someone and they just show up and fix it. And so there's, especially with a baby, so there's a lot of great things about renting. It gets a bad rap, but for a lot of situations, it's a good move. And long term, it's always a great move to be a homeowner. So I would encourage you to do that. But if you want to save up more and go, hey, we want a single family home, that's going to be double the cost. We need to wait till we have a bigger down payment. There's a lot of wisdom in that too.
well, you guys are good savers. Like, you guys have saved quite a bit on a relatively small income in the grand scheme of things. So as your husband gets raises and you continue to be aggressive with your finances, in a year or two, the opportunity to get a single family home may be within reach while still keeping it under that 25%. Do you feel in your gut that you would rather wait it out, or do you kind of feel that rush to buy something?
I definitely don't feel a rush to buy something. It's just, recently it's just struck us how frustrating it is to just throw rent money, out the window, when we could be putting it towards something like a condo, and then have that to sell in 5-ish years to put towards a single family home. So yeah, I can really just see it going either way. So it's nuanced, and we haven't just been sure what to do with that.
I would just set a goal and say, hey, a year from now, we want to be in a position to buy. Here's what we're kind of looking at, and just be about that savings goal.
Yep. And I think you're in a really great position. I love that this is something that could go either way, and you'd be comfortable in that position. I mean, you're set up with the down payment. If you want to do a condo, I think you wouldn't go wrong. But also, since you aren't in a hurry and you're content renting, if you're willing to wait it out, you might be able to get something that you're a little bit more excited about in a year. I think it's a hard one where it's really going to have to be some soul searching and what you want to do.